Leadership and Economic Transformation, What Singapore, South Korea, Vietnam and China Can Teach the Rest of the World. One of my favorite topics is economic development and how people can move from poverty to prosperity. Economic development does not happen by magic, it happens through the concerted effort of the people in power. Leadership is the difference between wishful thinking and a national transformation plan with a deadline. It's no coincidence that the countries often cited as economic miracles, Singapore, South Korea, Vietnam, and China, didn't stumble into success. They were led there. So, what did they get right that many developing countries can learn from? Let's unpack this leadership playbook and see how strategic decision-making turned GDP stats into Cinderella stories. Singapore, the startup nation before startups were cool. Singapore's rise from swampy colonial port to high-tech powerhouse is like watching an episode of Dragon's Den where the dragon also built the studio, trained the contestants, and then bought out the other dragons. Lee Kuan Yew's leadership was pivotal. He was obsessed, not just with economic growth, but with systems, discipline, cleanliness, and global competitiveness. His government prioritized meritocracy. You got the job because you could do the job, not because you knew someone who knew someone's uncle. Rule of law and anti-corruption. Investors love stability and hate bribery. Singapore knew this before ESG became fashionable. Education and talent development. They didn't just import foreign expertise, they created local ones. The lesson for other developing nations: build institutions before you build skyscrapers. Talent without integrity is expensive noise. South Korea, from war-torn to world-class. South Korea's story is one of grit, chips, semiconductors, not fish and chips, and cables, massive family-run conglomerates. After the Korean War, the country's GDP was on life support. Today, it's the land of Samsung, Hyundai, and BTS, arguably all export products. How? Visionary government-industry partnerships. The government picked key industries, electronics, shipbuilding, cars, and partnered with businesses to develop them. Investment in education and RAND. Building a tech economy is hard when your curriculum still thinks slide rules are cutting edge. Export-oriented strategy. They didn't wait for the world to come knocking, they packaged their value and sent it overseas. The lesson here is not to just make noise locally, create something the world wants and package it excellently. Vietnam, the quiet hustler making global waves. Vietnam's growth is less talked about, but just as impressive. And now for the biggest of all miracles in development, China. China, the giant that woke up, and brought exports with it. China's economic liftoff under Deng Xiaoping's leadership was less about ideology and more about pragmatism. It doesn't matter if the cat is black or white, as long as it catches mice, he famously said. Special economic zones, CEZs, these were playgrounds for capitalism in a communist framework. Shenzhen today is what Silicon Valley wants to be when it grows up. Infrastructure investment, highways, ports, railways, not just for photo ops, but as the arteries of a modern economy. Massive upskilling and tech transfer. They didn't just assemble for the world, they learned from it. Lesson: infrastructure is the stage on which the economy performs. Build it before the curtain rises. So what can developing nations learn? Here's the simplified cheat sheet. 1. Strong, strategic leadership. Vision without action is a dream. Action without vision is chaos. 2. Invest in people. No country leaps into prosperity by undereducating its youth. 3. Zero tolerance for corruption. It's not just morally right, it's economically smart. 4. Global thinking, local execution. Think big, but implement with cultural wisdom. 5. Long-term planning, not 5-year plans that change every 2 years, but 20-year roadmaps with mile markers of real progress. Final serve. You know there is always a room to serve an ace, so tennis metaphor incoming. Just like in tennis, economic development isn't about flashy forehands alone. It's about footwork, strategy, endurance, and knowing when to hit hard and when to play it safe. The leaders of Singapore, South Korea, Vietnam, And China didn't wait for opportunities. They built courts, trained the players, wrote the rule book, and then dominated the game. Developing countries, take note, your transformation starts not in your budget, but in your boardroom. If you found this insightful, follow me on LinkedIn and subscribe to my YouTube channel where I regularly share content on strategic leadership, economic transformation, and how nations, and individuals, can create winning financial futures. Let's not just play the game, let's change it.